What's going on, everyone? You got Ed here.
You got Jack, Cool Smooth, Money Making Jack, Action Jackson, Captain Jack, whatever you want to call it. I'm on the mic.
It's your boy Terrance G. Like I'm hailing from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I added some little Zatarans to the mix. You know,
Oh, yeah, you got
and you know, upgrade to the gun bucket.
Y'all say with Ann.
Yes, sir. What's happening? You heard me?
Yeah. I think that's wrong.
Not bad, a little bit. You know, really a little parsing on the language.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
And today the topic of discussion is Drake versus Kendrick.
What else?
We have some opinions.
It's hot right now.
Yeah, right.
I'm telling you boring today.
Our 20 we got opinions. We want to know what's going on.
Did I push up before we?
Yeah, we did.
Terrance, you want to kick us off? What you thinking?
Okay, so I mean, this is a layered conversation. I do want to facilitate because I can go on. My immediate thoughts were I thought Kendrick is up 1-0. I won't count first person shooter or like that per se because I don't grab those with this record. I think those were shot subliminally, but we got to put names and put it on wax to make this official. I'm giving it to Kendrick because I thought, though people criticized him for taking a couple of weeks, Kendrick has always prided himself on quality. He's never gonna do it when, but every time he delivers and he's so detailed, there's so many intricacies. I have to play it back 10 to 15 times to really catch some of the nuances in his music. And I think if you listen to Kendrick's music, his albums particularly, you had to play those back multiple times to really understand the different dimensions and this layer laid up. And you know, I think this is a style fight. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that
style fight. But you know, I'm thinking like a Mayweather Pacquiao, if you would, right? Garcia and your boy.
Yeah, that hey, let's leave that one open. Let's not bring that in here.
But I think it's a style battle because I think Drake he's Instagram captioning, he's memeish. I think he says catchy things that, and I think he brings the world can kind of all relate to him globally. I think Kendrick is the rapper's rapper. He's cut from that Tupac NWA cloth, right? We're a West Side, you know, we don't really care if you rock with us or not. We're going to bring it to you, but he's also Nas and Jay-Z with the cleverness, you know what I mean? He'll give you, what do you call it, a double entendres and
sometimes triple, quadruple, writing it up. Yeah.
And so I think for some people, you know, I talk to people about this and they're like, oh, too deep and lyrical. I want to hear all of that. Like, just give me some easy digestible things. So I think if you like easy digestible music, Drake is probably more of your flavor. If you like the intricacies of writing and artists kind of peeling back layers of themselves and not kind of giving everything away to you as easily, you'll probably like a Kendrick. You know what I mean? So I think it's a style fight. I as a writer, you know what I mean? I feel like Kendrick crafts such complex bodies of work. Yeah. I thought he gave that same energy to this diss record. Yeah. I thought Drake also played to his style. He's a funny dude. He's entertaining, and I thought he chose the entertaining route, drop and give me 50. Whether Kendrick gets 50% of his money, it doesn't matter. He made a joke of it, and I think now this in round two, Drake is gonna have to really get in the booth and put that pin to the pen.
And you know what? What I love about what you said. I honestly think I agree. This is definitely a style fight, right? This is one of those things where we got to set up chairs across the table and we really got to sit down and watch this as if we were watching a football game.
Right.
Because we're watching two different giants. And I'm going to call Drake a giant just for the sake of this. Because I really do believe he is going to, if not, he's already a legend in his own right.
Yeah.
Kendrick there was a bar on Euphoria where he made a comment about, does Drake have a classic album? Because that's been a conversation through all of Drake's work. We've all been trying to figure out, well, does he have a classic the way Kendrick, in my humble opinion, has had multiple classics? What I do believe is this is good for hip-hop. And I know a lot of people have been saying, nah, this is not it. But I firmly believe this is it for hip-hop, right? We saw Ether.
Is this all Jay Nas for this generation?
It doesn't feel close to it at all for me. And this is the funny thing. Because when it started and when that dropped, I was like, this is friendly banter. There's no blood. Like when we watched like the story added on and like Pusha T basically Ether Drake, that was personal. I mean, I was personal, and I was Kendrick says all personal things on Euphoria.
But he said, I'm keeping it friendly for now.
Right.
Now, if you
But he's airing them. He's been saying he has a red, he has this flash drive.
Yeah.
He's been saying, I'm going to push the red button. Kendrick is like, push it. I got more things to say.
But could you also say Drake is kind of baiting him too? Because remember, if you remember the Meek Mill, he did, what was that? What was it? Charged Up?
Charged Up.
And it was like, okay, yeah. But then he dropped back.
Back to back.
He and
That's somebody with that playlist.
Yes.
This ain't gonna work out.
bro, I mean, he had the whole summer on Smash. I mean, in any club you went to, if you got a diss record playing in the club, diss record ain't baby. But I think that's what makes Drake different.
Yeah, exactly. He is tactical, and I don't think people give him enough credit as a tactical artist, right? I think when people think about Drake, he has these dualities. Like Drake, the light skinned pretty boy, and then it's Drake. Now he's the contract killer. But what we're seeing right now is, I agree. I do think Drake is fishing. He wants you to come a little closer so he can put out that hit, so he can say the things he actually wants.
I think he got a hit right now for the drop.
I believe it.
I think in the next couple of days he about to hit. But he did the same thing with Meek, bro. And if you think about the hit, and I know it's disrespectful, but I do think by the time we get through these rounds, I do think the Nas and Jay comparison can be appropriate.
Really?
Because these are the two of the biggest rappers of this era. Think about a 15, 16, 17-year-old. They didn't grow up on no Nas and Jay stuff. This is probably their first time. I mean, Pusha T, yes, but I think Pusha T was at a different stage in his career at the time, right? This was like Kobe and Bron. You know what I mean? You couldn't really put Kobe and Bron next to each other because Kobe preceded him. So it was interesting to see them go, one-on-one. It's like Bron and KD. They're not quite in that same era. They're kind of a little bit apart. I think this is Kendrick and Drake. They kind of came up around the same. So Far Gone, Section 80, Kendrick Lamar, all of that stuff is around that same.
And I think that's why Drake is I think that's why he wants this beef.
Yeah,
because when you think about I didn't start with Chris, right? I mean, the guy he's been saying he's Michael Jackson, right? He says it all the time.
Light skin, Keith Sweat.
But it's very clear that I love Push. I believe Push should have won that Grammy. I don't think Cardi should have won. I think Push should have got a different conversation. But he didn't go back and forth with Push because I think he knew Push's reach only went so far.
Correct.
He would be using his bandwidth to bring.
Because the rapper loves Push.
Yeah.
I don't know if Push has that global.
Yeah.
Kendrick is around. He can go to Japan and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a different respect level. And I think it's only so many people who can do a verses, if you will, with a Drake. It's like the Jays, Kanye's of the world, Kendricks of the world. Right. And I think Kendrick, it takes a lot to pull Kendrick out of the house. He on father time, you know what I mean?
He say Drake don't know nothing about how to be a father.
Yeah. But I think that's why this is kind of like a moral conversation as well. He alluded to, predatory, you like young girls, you know what I mean? Like, and he didn't even really he kind of hit it like, bro, he caught with the pacifier line. He's like, I electrified the crowd, you pacify. And I thought that was a play on, and it's the Michael Jackson Prince thing too, the pedophilia allegations with Mike, you know what I mean? Billie Eilish and Drake. So I thought, that's what I'm saying. Kendrick is so freaking surgical and diabolical. Like, as great as clever as I think Drake is, does he really have, I mean, he got 20 writers in there, which is why I thought Kendrick was like, give me all 20. I want 1 versus 20. Does he have enough in the tuck to really go toe-to-toe with Kendrick? And I think that's what makes this whole dynamic so fascinating.
Well, I think it just got real. Like, I was telling my boys this before the beef is where it's at now. I was like, it doesn't feel real. It feels like friendly banter.
Yeah, but they spar.
This one feels like the first right hook. I'm like,
somebody said emotional. Would you say Drake got knocked?
Yeah, I would say he got knocked out first. Yeah. Because again, I haven't listened to Euphoria, but I know everything. I know the content, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna listen to what the execution is. But I know Kendrick is Kendrick. So this feels like the first time that I'm like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
Now, Drake is like, gloves are off.
Yeah.
So now I'm actually very about to get to like, I'm like, okay, where are we going with this?
He gonna give us one for the summer.
Summertime too. I think he dropping a hit.
Yeah.
But I also, rumors have it that Kendrick got like 19 minutes but he cut it down. So is he breaking this down into like parts?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I wonder though, right? Because there's still other rappers in the nucleus of this beat. No, but I'm saying I'm a Ross fan. I'm a Ross fan.
Champagne
rap. As grown folk rap. Ross has 80.
I do.
I'm telling you what.
Carroll City, we see you, baby.
Gotta hold him down. I'm from Miami, so I'm always going Ross first, but I gotta be honest, right? I gotta be honest. I think any rapper that's in this beat just needs to bow out.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take that back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, J. Cole comment.
Yeah, J. Cole.
What
y'all think about that? The apology.
It's on character. I'm a big. That's how.
But
He's never been caught.
But should we even have an issue with Cole taking himself out of this?
No.
I think he has a good relationship with Drake, as we've seen, collaborating on record, going on tour with him. But Kendrick, he tried to sign Kendrick in like 2009, bro. They have a relationship that's a decade plus. To me, it would have been corny if he would have dissed Kendrick, because y'all ain't even really got no smoke for each other. Like, if y'all lyrically hot, get on the record and do what was that record they did, Black Friday? Do something where y'all back to back and just rapping your.
Remember there were rumors of them dropping a collab album? Never happened. And I was
Dr. Drake Detox Energy.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. Never, and it never dropped.
You gonna wait forever.
You're right. I think J. Cole realized like what it was about to turn into, and he's like, yeah, I'm out now.
I mean, Cole, like he meditate, he got his ginger all over it.
He's got
Right, let's say I
feel like man, Kendrick, I feel like they hate. Well, at least Kendrick hated him.
Yeah.
Like,
no, he said it.
I have to wait until you talking. That was one of the funniest. That was probably one of the.
Yeah.
But he's also, and I think this is a conversation on talking about acceptance in the black community. And that's why I think this is a very interesting, because rap inherently is black. I don't say black first, but it's deeply rooted in blackness. So when you talk about racial and colorism and all of those things, he's coming from Canada. I think there's a lot of different dynamics here. And Kendrick's like, I'm of the culture. I'm from Compton. You know what I mean? I lived a lot of this stuff. You're coming in as kind of like an actor from Degrassi, and like you're cosplaying.
Morphed into.
You're cosplaying as black. If you're not to disrespect Drake, but like how they're framing it's like you're cosplaying as black. You're performing. You're taking on a black role, but you ain't really living. Like,
it is appropriation to an extent, and that's, I think that's the.
He's adapted though. And I think that's a great part of Drake too, right?
And that's what I love about him, right? Like, you look at some of his earlier music on the what it was, the mixtape Unstoppable, where Ransom is on. Like, some of his so far gone. Like, some of his
fantastic class.
Like, those are I'm deep in my bag. I enjoy Drake.
Yeah.
But I do believe that over time, like, you saw him start to get closer to the culture, and he started to realize, you know what? In order to survive.
Mm-hmm.
I got to evolve. Mm-hmm. And what worked for him was he had things that benefited. He had his father, like he had access to Wayne. He had these things within his vicinity where he could reach cosign.
We have this call.
These things gave him, they gave him the card. They said, here, go ahead and use it. And what
black card.
They gave it to him. They gave it to him. And they said, they said, use it. They said, go ahead and use it. No problem. It didn't become a problem until the gloves came on.
Right.
But we can tell, just like you're saying, Kendrick has been sitting back, watching. Almost, we could say Drake make a mockery of some parts of the culture, benefit from the culture. What you said Drake gives back. But I think what Kendrick is saying is everything that you have right now would not have been possible without us. And you're not acknowledging. You haven't acknowledged that. Somebody tell me a Drake song where he's on some pro-black stuff. Maybe I'm missing it, but somebody tell me.
Has he ever spoken up on the social issue?
Tell me, I don't know.
But is that the bar? And that's so funny. That's the conversation.
But I think this is why it's a moral dilemma, right? Are rappers do they have a social responsibility?
I
think that's subjective. And also, I don't know what our time is.
I think they'll come grab it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where that's where the conversation went with me and my friends, because I was like, that's the case, but all of you guys are future, because it became an authenticity thing.
Yeah.
It was like, is Drake authentic in his rapping? And like, obviously that was up for question with like Kendrick's diss track. But then it's like,
I don't really like that.
I'm like, well, you guys listen to Future, and Future has admitted that he doesn't do any drugs. So like, why is Drake up for debate but not Future? And the same thing for a lot of other rappers. Like Rick Ross isn't out here, to my knowledge, speaking about like Palestine and Israel, because these rappers and people that are celebrities, they know that it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah. A lot of them. Drake just carries a bigger responsibility and burden because arguably he's the biggest artist from a mainstream point of view and from a sales point of view in the game. As far as rap goes, he has I don't know if anyone has more sales than Drake.
But I think what Kendrick is saying is it fair that you benefit from a culture that you never lived?
Yeah, I will say, Rick Ross had an album, Black Dollar, that was very much black, social conscious.
Okay.
But then also, there's different albums and songs where deep cuts where he's definitely died. He's talking about
the Nation of Islam.
Might not be Palestine, Israel per se, but he's talked on black issues, the things that are affecting the community at large, and how ownership is key to thriving. Buying back the block, stuff like that. But that's why I think this is a compelling conversation. Does Drake need to do that to solidify his place in a black dominated space, or can he just kind of play above? He can play the commercial play. He can be Michael Jordan as opposed to LeBron.
I was gonna say Michael Jordan came up in the conversation.
Michael Jordan said Republicans.
I was gonna say, what is Michael Jordan?
And that's a fact. But you have like LeBron and then those guys who are kneeling, Trayvon Martin,
When Kaepernick was,
but I mean, you could even date this back. Bill Russell, Jim Brown, there's a historical precedent because there's not a lot of black people who make it to that place of having an ultimate world microphone. The world is watching you, and when the world's watching you, what are you going to do with that power? I think that's why I think it is a valid question for Drake to be held accountable for that. But I also think if that's not who he is, don't do it.
Right.
And you don't have to be who you're not.
Right.
But I think I think it's a fair critique too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the quid pro quo. You can look at my boys. Come on, 305, baby. Hey, that's the SAT word, man. I get some points. Somebody ring me up. But I think it's that exchange, right? And I don't want to dive too deep into my social bag because I get really passionate about this stuff. But I do believe that if you can benefit from the culture, then there's also an implicit responsibility to do something else. And I think when you were hinting to that earlier when you were talking about the God's Plan video where he's here in Miami going through all of these areas, giving money back, but is that enough? Does
going to King of Diamonds and Tootsies and dropping 50?
Does that pay your debt? Does that pay the tax for you using this card? It's because there's interest on the card. Right. But where do we go from here? And I think for Kendrick has just been sitting back, watching and listening. Kendrick said, "I hate when you say that." Kendrick ran the list. I hate all of these things about you. Let's be clear. I don't like you.
But I don't like you. I don't like what you stand for and represent.
Right.
I don't like what you promote.
Could be that. You say you see him next to Sexy Red. I feel like you a bad bitch too. I think, damn. Drake do paint his nail.
Now
I'm just working in that.
Now I'm interested because again, up until this point, I was telling my friends, nothing's really happening. I'm like, oh, shots for taking.
You gotta
hard shots.
First of all, you gotta listen to Euphoria. But
I know hard shots.
I've read everything.
Well, we were doing the next episode of our podcast.
Right.
We want to run it out because I want to hear what you think about Euphoria because there's so many different layers that he impact. And I think it took me probably 8 to 10 listens to really kind of get a grasp with everything, which is what I love about Kendrick. But I also understand how the passive listener, the casual, how they say it, a casual NBA fan, the casual rap fan might not want to. They probably in the gym ain't trying to hear it.
Right.
Double on top
all of that.
Yeah, it's polarized because I follow all the rap pages on Instagram. I'm a big fan of rap, so I'm scrolling through the comments to see, and everyone's like, "All this show's trash. All this show's out. What are you listening to? Nah, what are you listening to?" It's so polarized because it will be because it's subjective.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see what I'm gonna think about it too.
There's every diss track, the greatest diss tracks, right? When we talk about Hit 'Em Up. That was personal. Yeah. When Hit 'Em Up comes on,
and it probably has some truth to it.
A lot of truth. But when
you looking at your girl,
yeah, you felt when Tupac came on that, and then you start talking about all of the other little guys, you knew this was personal.
Yes,
you knew Ether was personal. You knew the 50 and Ja Rule beef was personal. You felt that beef. This right here, I think now we're
entering that territory.
We're entering that territory.
Kendrick's a student of the game. He grew up on Pac. Pac played on Mortal Man. So he cut from that stuff. And I think Drake, again, like you said at the beginning, a student. He knows where this came out. He's kind of gotten his spars with the meets, the pushes. that now it's like, wow, this is my third. It's
the real fight.
I
the real fight.
about to kick us off. I want to end it with one question. What do we all think is at stake for each rapper? So now gloves are off. We know things are about to pop off. What's at stake? All right, someone's gonna win. Someone's gonna lose. What's each rapper risking?
Go ahead, my brother.
At the end of every diss, I think the biggest question is, what is the goal of this diss, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to win? What does it mean to lose? A timeless record is gonna come out. The way back to back. Forgive me, I believe it's a timeless record. A timeless record is gonna come out of this. That's the only. I feel like rappers, they both have something to gain and nothing to lose. I don't think there was anything.
Right, because it's not like, okay, now nobody's going to be listening to Drake songs or Kendrick songs.
Good music is gonna reset hip hop.
I agree. I don't think either one has anything to lose. I think both of them, both of their jerseys will be in the Raptors. I think both of them are going to be on the Mount Rushmore of rap for this era and this time. I think that both will be rich beyond measure. Yeah. And I think both of them have fan bases that will never leave them no matter what.
Right.
I think this is really just good barbershop talk. And I think it's going to probably, for people who have lists and do those type of things, I think there's going to be a hierarchy and shit. You know what I mean? Some people who might have had Drake might be like, I've already lost a battle. And you might have lost 2 battles and you can't push you. But I think ultimately both of their legacies are solidified. And I think we just got to get the popcorn and enjoy it.
Yeah, Village see 2 Giants, man. That's one. When was the last time we had a beef like this? Come,
Bro, it's been a minute. I mean, what, Pusha and Drake? I mean, to me, I was like,
I love, and I think Pusha got that, but
for sure.
I don't think people consider them on the same level. I probably got Jay-Z, Nas, man.
Because we're talking.
We have to talk about big and pop. These are the big.
Yeah, these are the biggest. You're right,
man. There's levels.
A classic diss track is gonna come out of this. Yeah. Same way people talk about Ice Cube, No Vaseline.
I think it could be multiple. Yeah, I think they're both dope.
Both of them. Their pen game, their pen game. Look, Kendrick, it didn't take him that long. What was it? A week and a half, 2 weeks.
And I think it's gonna wait. I mean, Kendrick kind of been dormant. I think it's gonna activate him. He's gonna get back in the album mode to really get that spin. Section 80 style. And on that note, if you all thought that next podcast,
we got to be a
Audi, baby. Deuces 2.